What do you believe about respect? Is it something that is supposed to be just given to everyone or anyone unconditionally? Or is it something that must be enforced or earned? Interestingly enough, it is the earned respect that can truly make people feel good about themselves, rather than the fake, unearned, nicer version of respect that is given as if it were some kind of obligation. Now, one might think that the term earned respect means that one has to follow some complicated procedure or attain some kind of social proof to command respect. But what if I were to tell you about one simple thing that you need to master and demonstrate that will enable you to command massive, long-lasting respect and admiration in almost any situation? This is not some detailed process in which you have to find some sort of success, develop a certain reputation, or even work on your physical self. Now, for sure, these things can greatly increase your self-confidence, which will in turn make people respect you more. But on a very basic level, the art of commanding real, salutary respect is not based on any of these things. Reason? Real respect is based not on the external, but the internal. Not on what you have or even what you have accomplished, but on what kind of person you are or have made yourself into. Acquiring leadership skills is not about having $1 million in your bank account. It is not about a CEO position at a disruptive startup. It is not even about becoming the president of a country. But in fact, it is based on a mindset that serves as the seed for all kinds of external success and allows you to create an intense presence that separates you from the ordinary. It is a way of thinking and a way of being that is accessible to you right now, but only as long as there are no mental demons or obstacles in your way, obstacles that can make it difficult for you to adopt a leader's mindset. If you overcome these obstacles and adopt such a mindset, you will command respect wherever you go, regardless of what your social status or external accomplishments might be. Now, let's dive deeper into what exactly leadership is and the obstacles that you must overcome. Leadership means leading a group of people or an organization. That's a simple definition. But it does not tell you in detail of what exactly leadership entails. It does not tell you about the inherent qualities of a true leader and why some particular person is supposed to lead the pack over all others. It also doesn't tell you what makes that leader stand out and allows him to command respect and authority over others in that particular group. So let's try and define leadership in a different way that may help us understand all these things better. Leadership is the proactive initiative of moving a group of people in a particular direction that the group finds beneficial. This definition gives us a better understanding of what leadership might be. From an evolutionary standpoint, we're all wired to respect leaders and follow their lead, and they usually get the best of everything and have the most power in the group. The following qualities will imbue you with true leadership skills and eliminate all of the mental demons that might be in your way. Once upon a time, there lived a poor couple. The husband confined himself for 7 years and only read books in his cold room. One day his wife, all in tears, said to him, "Look here, my good man, what is the use of all your book reading? I have spent my youth in washing and sewing for other people, and yet I have nothing to wear and nothing to eat. I am hungry and cold. I can stand it no more." Hearing these words, the middle-aged scholar closed his book, rose to his feet, and without saying another word, went out of the doors. Arriving in the heart of the city, he stopped a passing gentleman. "Hello, my friend. Who is the richest man in town?" "Poor countryman. Don't you know Wonsey, the millionaire? His glittering tile-roofed house with 12 gates is just over there." Hearing this, he went straight to the rich man's house. Having entered the big gate, he flung the guest room door open and addressed the host. "I need 10,000 yang for capital for my commercial business, and I want you to lend me the money." Alright sir, where shall I send the money? To the Ansong market in care of a commission merchant. Very well sir, I will draw on Kim, who does the biggest commission business in the Ansong market. You'll get the money there. Goodbye sir. When the man was gone, all the other guests in the room asked Beyonce why he gave so much money to a beggar-like stranger whose family name was unknown to him. But the rich man replied with a triumphant face. Even though he was in rag clothes, he spoke clearly to the point without betraying shame or inferiority. Unlike common people who want to borrow money for a bad debt, such a man as he is either mad or self-confident in doing business. But judging from his dauntless eyes and booming voice, he is an uncommon man with a superhuman brain, worthy of my trust. I know money and I know men. Money often makes a man small, but a man like him makes big money. I am only glad to have helped a big man do big business. Belief in oneself and their capabilities is the first step to developing a leadership mindset, but it can often be the most difficult one to take. Burdens of past failures, disappointments and disapprovals can easily prevent you from developing such self-belief. If this is the case, then you must first change your way of looking at past failures and disappointments. The reason you're afraid of failure is because at some level you have accepted it as the end of the road to your success. But the truth is that failure is often the starting point of success. It is simply a learning experience. Now, when you completely accept this fact, not only will your own attitude towards failure be changed, but also you will greatly eliminate the external criticisms and disapprovals. This is because true self-belief is contagious. Whereas you will be ruled out by everyone if you lack self-belief, having a genuine self-belief will easily get you a second chance in case you end up failing at some point. Contrary to this, when, instead of a learning experience, you treat failures or any disappointments as a fixed personal inadequacy, it becomes an obstacle for a lifetime. You keep hating and doubting yourself, and others do the same. Both leadership and self-belief require courage. So it is also a key part of the leadership dynamic. Now, some people are naturally courageous, even to the point of being foolishly brave. Whereas on the other hand, there are people who are very cautious, sometimes to the point of being foolishly timid. Leadership requires you to find the right balance. This means to know when to take the initiative and when to hold back. The people who usually lack the courage to take any initiative are often the smart ones. This is because they tend to overthink and overcalculate. I don't think we should risk all our money on this single idea. What if I said this to her and she didn't like it? If I explain myself and what I think about the situation, I'll be heavily criticized. These are some of the examples where the overcalculating mind takes over and ruins everything. However, you don't need to become a brainless buffoon to be able to take the initiative. All you need to do is to take control of your fear-based mind. You do this by accepting that things will definitely go wrong at some point, but most of the times, your courage, boldness, and initiative will enable you to establish yourself as a go-getter, commanding massive respect in the process. You cannot create an intense presence without the ability to communicate effectively. Since extroverts enjoy the company of others, they tend to adapt better to different social situations and are adept at persuasion, which is a strong leadership skill. Other than that, extroverts enjoy a distinct advantage in 4 categories: emotional, interpersonal, motivational, and performance-related. With that being said, you don't necessarily have to be a complete extrovert to create an intense presence, but preferably, you need the qualities of both introversion and extroversion to master the art. Your introvert side allows you to step back and observe things. It allows you to detach from the outside world and think more deeply. This makes you a more superior problem solver. On the other hand, your extrovert side creates the desire and the courage that is required to verbally influence people. The more desire you have for communication, the more powerful will be your connections with others. Normally, most people identify themselves either as a complete introvert or the complete extrovert. So it is ultimately up to you to figure out which side of the spectrum you are naturally on, and then cultivate the side that you're lacking in. If I had asked people what they had wanted, they would have said faster horses. Thousands of years ago, we humans were simple hunter-gatherers living in the wilderness, preying and getting preyed on by other animals. Our daily thoughts merely revolved around basic survival and other aspects like better shelter or reproduction. Slowly and surely, our species propagated and we started to live in much larger groups than before. With more people, more problems also emerged. What allowed us to come this far and create this civilization is people with strong imaginations and beneficial ideas. These are the people who mastered the arts of thinking ahead into the future and at the same time thinking in a totally different direction. They created better solutions, better tools, and better ways of doing things. Such people are the visionaries. And when a vision is strong enough, boldness often finds its way. Now, being a visionary has been one of the most essential traits of all great leaders throughout history. However, it is not absolutely essential if your goal is simply to create an intense presence in a small group of people. Developing the rather simple habit of thinking 2 to 3 steps ahead is all you need. Napoleon Bonaparte is known to be a bold and fiery leader who made great attempts to rebuild the image of France after the French Revolution. Starting off as a commoner, he rose to power through his venturesome spirit and his quest for glory. He led successful war campaigns one after the other at a relatively young age. His successive victories instilled in him a belief that he was literally invincible. This only aggravated his prickly and aggressive behavior, which actually covered his gnawing insecurities that were lying under the smoke screen of glory. His deep-rooted inferiority complex relating to class, wealth, and sex had turned him into a thin-skinned person, susceptible to the slightest of criticisms. This hampered his ability to effectively engage with others. In his eyes, a just concession was literally a failure, and diplomatic relations were nothing more than showdowns in which he had to be seen to win. His fear of being seen as weak in negotiations, combined with his desire to extract the most possible money from the defeated party, resulted in the other side hungry for revenge in each of his treaties. In 1812, Napoleon felt so threatened by the defiance of Russia that he led the greatest army ever for an invasion, which eventually failed and led to his downfall. Knowing your limits is one of the most important things in any position of authority. Even in normal social encounters, humility and saintliness is often respected more than grandiose words. The worst mistake anyone can make in their quest for social or political success is to take that success to their head, to end up believing themselves to be invincible or on a higher level than anyone else. Oftentimes, grandiose words or gestures cover an underlying sense of inferiority. Such an inferiority complex may be a result of some trauma or misfortune. In such cases, practicing humility and not taking yourself too seriously can be a great exercise. On the other hand, without an appearance of humility or saintliness, such grandiose gestures come across as prickly, arrogant, and detrimental to any kind of social success. The mental frameworks required to dominate any social scenario are out of the way. Now it's time to talk about the habits and behaviors that will actually enable you to create an intense presence and achieve all your social goals. All you need to do is to start applying these principles in your daily life without any reservations or exceptions. Act according to your beliefs and standards without settling for less. Almost everyone has a certain set of beliefs, standards, and core values, or simply put, ideals that we expect ourselves to live up to. For example, our expectations regarding our career goals, our self-discipline, and our ways of doing certain things, or our dream projects. For some people, their ideals are not that demanding and they find it easier to live up to them. However, for many others, they find themselves not in line with their ideals. The result of this is that it affects their aura. They project a certain negative energy that communicates to others that this person cannot be trusted or followed. Keep in mind that these ideals have nothing to do with the material or the external. They are based only on the internal. They are not based on some destination or end result, but based upon a path or a process that you must be on. If you are on that path and purpose, you will project a highly charged and positive aura that will positively affect other people's perception. It will inspire trust, increase your influence, and make others follow your lead. Do not seek validation. If you expect people to follow you or do whatever you want them to do, you must have authority and confidence in what you say. This will communicate to others that you know what you're talking about. On the other hand, always seeking other people's validation and approval signals to them that you don't really have much to offer. They won't do whatever it is that you want them to do. If you find yourself seeking validation from anyone, then it means that they have the authority, which may not necessarily be wrong depending upon whom you are dealing with. But in cases when it is up to you to demonstrate leadership and authority, you should stay away from seeking validation from those you want to influence. You focus on the work or fun, not on yourself. Social situations are mainly for two purposes: for some form of work or for some form of fun. To establish an intense presence and take charge of any social situation, you must focus on the purpose at hand. If your primary focus is yourself and how you're being perceived, you will be seen as a self-absorbed person. If your primary focus is other people, you will be perceived as a validation seeker. These two should be your secondary focus. Your primary focus should always be the purpose of the gathering. If it is work, you should be focusing on the work. If it is fun, you should be having fun to please yourself only. You don't force people to follow you. If you directly ask others to give you something or follow your lead, or if you expect people to validate you or give you attention, you will unconsciously send signals that will repel them instead. You should strive to do the opposite. Instead of chasing or being direct, you must learn how to attract. When you do everything right, you will find that others demand your attention or leadership rather than you making requests. You accept and demand feedback, but do not react to others. If you want to influence anyone, you must be a great listener. You must genuinely care about their problems, concerns, or desire. Fortunately, people regularly give us clues about their moods, motivations, and problems indirectly. To be a good influencer, you must pay close attention to your prospects and turn yourself into a superior reader of people. This is something that you master by practicing. However, you can also directly ask them about their problem.